The view from where we sit is gorgeous, even if we don't fit inside your little portrait. The big picture is enormous, so we don't even have to fit. We after it, true purpose, yeah, we have to get. We mastered it, reporting it live from Black Pew, discussing politics, the culture, and laughing at you. Cause you don't understand the viewpoint, don't mean you up by a few points. You just ain't hip to these new joints we on. The world says to follow they pitch, we set the tone, then we knock it over the fence. Oh yes, it's gone. Them haters screaming loud from the bench. They get the bat and try to copy technique, but they miss the point that I mentioned earlier. I see that you observing the way I strangle this beat. Oh yeah, I'm a murderer. Enough of me, let's get back to this gorgeous view. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome to the Black Pew.
Good.
Yeah, we're good. Black Pew podcast. We just in here. It's the fellas today.
The three amigos.
Yeah.
We just sitting here chilling.
Gang, gang, gang.
I'm sitting next to Sharp, so I can't yell.
Man, bro, I'm trying to move my seat to the other side, man. Let me get my hearing aid.
We're all getting up there.
My bro was out of breath last week, man.
I got the shining grays, so we getting up there.
But no, we were just talking about the vaccine and the cards and stuff. I think that they're gonna find out that it was a lab leak. It wasn't
definitely a lab leak.
It wasn't done intentional, but China could have stopped it had they been more forthcoming with like, hey, this isn't.
See, the thing is, they already know it's a lab leak because from the facts that they're putting out right now, they already know that. Because they were talking about, so what they were saying is that the scientists in Wuhan found the host in an animal. They got it. They altered it.
They were testing it.
They were altering it to create a vaccine in case an outbreak happened
in the lab. In the lab, an accident happened in the lab.
Well, they had infected themselves.
Yeah, and
so a lot of those people who were in that lab were infected, have been treated for it back in November.
Sound like some I Am Legend stuff.
No, for real. So back in November of 2019, some people in Wuhan some guys who were in the lab have been treated for it. So the thing is when we look at how
diagnosed or treated,
both, because you got to think about it, like at that time, like to them, they had a bigger jump on it than anybody else. That's why when it came to curbing it, like they pretty much did it the fastest. Now they did withhold some information, but they pretty much did it the fastest. They already knew how to
they already had a vaccine for it?
No, but they already knew how to mitigate it because you got to think about it. SARS, all that, those are coronaviruses too.
Yeah.
They already mask wearing, all that. Think about it. That they were doing that here.
And they move faster. The rights there are not like here, so they move faster because they can lock down cities,
right?
And they can, and I think
you had an app on your phone, QR scan, and it would let you know if you have been in a place that had been infected, and it would be certain colors. So they would ban your travel based on what color it was. You would have to be on quarantine,
and they're gonna find out. But what it is that China's not, and like Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms were taking videos down of people. They might take this one down if we put it up because they weren't sure if it was a lab leak. But now that more information is coming out that it was a lab leak, you've got them kind of holding back like, okay, we won't take your video down. We won't take your content down for saying it was a lab leak, because it was people trying to say, hey, it was China's fault, they did it, and then violence was happening to people.
To the AAPI community.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that there's two different ways to look at it as a lab leak. Like, people were planting this seed of biological warfare.
Yeah.
And so that was it was like, and I could even myself was like, and the only reason why I looked at it myself was like that is because before they even had tracked the point of knowing that there have been people inside the Wuhan lab that have been infected. There have been some satellite surveillance done on a hospital in Wuhan, and they were monitoring the patient intake, and it was super busy at one point right before coronavirus hit. So for me, I felt like they knew, and so in that case, say accident does happen. Normally, the protocol is to ban travel, is to contain it, but they didn't. And so when you really look at it, it almost looked like there was a strategic type of warfare because of how it was popping up. It was popping up all over the globe, in Europe, Australia. I mean, we had one of the first cases in the U.S. right here in Washington. And then it went crazy on the East Coast, which means that they didn't come from.
Wasn't
the
it like
same
Colorado
side.
Was the first place out here in the U.S. or something like that?
No,
it was us,
Was it?
and it was New York. But New York's, I think we got them. We got one of the first cases, but New York at the same
We got the
time,
first death,
yeah, we had the first death. But New York was getting hit from Europe, so it was like getting a leg sweep and then getting somebody hit you in the jaw at the same time. Like,
we're getting it from all sides.
yeah, we about to knock you out and I'm about to make you fall on the ground. And so in that sense, it looked
Like
it looked like a
warfare.
biological warfare because it was like, man, and the contents, the things that were happening to people, like. It's hard for first they were there as respiratory, but then they're finding out it's people, the long haulers. You've got blood clots, brain fog, all these things. You don't see that. You don't see
Lung
it.
failure.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see that in some other in a lot of other diseases that come that are in the wild and then come to us. You don't see that stuff in the same one. And that's what it was looking like. It was looking like some things were maybe tweaked on it.
Like they saw that they could use it a certain way.
Well, and so that's the thing. And let's be honest, it was altered. So the whatever strand they found was altered, and the thing was because they were trying to build something to create resistance to it, you know. And so it was altered in trying to find something to create resistance to it, but the containment of it was irresponsible.
Yeah.
And so the lid got let off, and instead of trying to contain it within their community, they let it get worldwide, you know. And so
Well, you have some nations that did good, like, you know what I'm saying? I saw like this article about, it was actually about women leaders of, like, you know, of countries, how a lot of them, like I think Germany and I want to say like Ireland or something like that,
Yeah.
like they really led the way in terms of containing it within their specific regions.
Well,
you know,
but see, that's the thing. Like, it's easy to respond to it. So, like, everybody's reaction was what China's reaction should have been from the jump.
Yeah, true.
So the thing is if China would have been contained, we wouldn't even be talking about how coronavirus affected the world. We may be talking about a situation in China. Because even if you think about, and I don't know how, but even when it became like early December, before we had the first case, people were talking about the myth of coronavirus.
Yeah.
And people were just saying something like it was like the flu. You weren't hearing about too many people dying here about it, so you just thought it was affecting countries that had bad health care, you know? And when it hit here, it didn't really become, like, even still to this day, COVID ain't real till it hit close to you, you know? Like, COVID was a myth to me. I think,
yeah,
I don't think it was.
me too. I didn't believe
I
it.
really think it was a myth to me because where I work. And I think because I remember there was a day seeing this one dude, and he just couldn't stop coughing. It was just like, and then when our job came to us and said, you know, there may have been a situation here, it was like, well, you know, it's happening in Washington. We don't know how it's getting around. We work in, you know, food industry. You don't know. So it's like, okay. And so it was, to me, it was real. And I was calling back home. I found out people having it, and I've heard people dying from it. And so it was real, but I think some people didn't think it was real and played the government like they were pushing some false narrative for control. And until it got close to you, and then you found somebody that really had it, or you got it, and then it was real.
Even parts of the government, we had the president saying,
but they still denied it.
Saying they were denying it, saying, and the dude told him, the general told him, hey, this is going to be a defining moment of your presidency, and he didn't take it seriously. Yeah. And I think also, like you said, China, if China had acted with steps, and then had we done the same thing, it would have been different. Because I remember when they were like, it was some cases at that hospital. I mean that nursing home. You could drive around there, and you could drive in the parking lot. Like, you just couldn't go in the building. Like, it should have been no way a regular person could have been within a couple blocks of there just for safety reasons. And I feel like COVID, like you said, COVID wasn't real serious to some people. I feel like COVID was like an accident on the other side of the highway. You don't really take it seriously
until it impacts your lane.
Until it impacts you, your lane and your side, and then you're like, man.
I can see why
watching the accident until you rear the person right in front of you.
Yeah,
I can see why China try to keep it like under wraps if that's what happened. Because I mean, you got to think like they're, the lead exporter. You know what I'm saying? So that would have hurt their GDP. So I could see. I don't know. It's just always connected to money.
Yeah,
it's always connected to money. But the thing is if you really are a smart business person, you realize the small hit is bigger than the long run. Mm-hmm. And see, that's what China didn't realize. Like, now it does affect their export because people are about to look at the way that they trade with China China that is going to change, because they're talking about that right now. They're talking about of how much power China has as an import-export. And if that should be something that they rely on, if they can't handle something like this, like they mishandled it, the
only issue with that is that China has got such a stranglehold on exports that I don't even know if you could even really like not fool with them on a major level
without incurring a lot of costs.
And so what do you think they're working on this huge infrastructure bill for? Is because what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to stop outsourcing as much as we can to other countries, and they're going to probably cut down on the export and create because what you think about is, and the one thing that Trump was trying to do in his Make America Great Again, where he forgot about and he let it go left because the racist people created another lane for it, is when America was in production. We strive with factory work, all that. So we lost a lot of that to outsourcing to other countries and to the export game. And so the thing is Make America Great Again. The original slogan, which is why you seen him like doing factory tours and going to Michigan and all that, because that's where the heart of it was to bring back factory work. And because he was in business, he understood that game better than anybody else. So he was the person that could easily sell that dream. And that's why they saw him as the businessman working, because he understood business anything. That's why he focused on trade deal, because he said, I know how to make deals. I'm a businessman. He probably wasn't that great at it, even in business, but still, his empire shows that he's a businessman, so people trusted him in the business lane. I mean, you didn't trust him when it came to foreign policy. You didn't trust him when it came to if we was going to war. But when it came to business and infrastructure, he was the guy.
No doubt.
Yeah, it just messed all around. And then now you got the other end of it where everything's spiking and everything. We got inflation, which was to be expected because everything's coming back. All the prices is going up. And you got things like people are like, oh, like the gas. Like one of the things that's so funny is when people complain about the gas. And I'm like, you don't think that gas wasn't going to go up? They're going to keep the gas up because they haven't been making money for a full year? Facts. Y'all haven't been driving for a full year.
Oh, well, we have, but we also got they also had that hack.
Yeah, exactly.
The pipeline got hacked too. So I mean, anything when export to the East Coast, whenever that affects the rest of the country too.
Yeah.
So I mean, gas prices were gonna go up regardless.
And then you got the summer, so it's like stuff's just gonna be going up for a while. And I'm like, I'm not gonna complain about it because I know we was
It's always swings, man.
Yeah.
It goes high, go low.
People are just trying to stabilize.
Yeah.
You haven't been open for a year or something. You got to be able to make some type of money back. And pay your staff.
And big oil ain't. I mean, it's a dying industry, but it it's gonna throw every last little bit. Because that EV, that whole thing rising up, bro, it's about to be real nasty.
Man. And I mean, companies and insurance too, health insurance or even just insurance on your business, because you got to think about it now. COVID adds another layer to your insurance.
Yep.
So if you have an outbreak or something like that, like you have to be insured to be able to handle these things now. So I mean, it's going to affect a lot of stuff. Which
is why I say we're not going back to normal, bruh. It's going to be a new normal.
Oh, we don't go back to normal.
Bet that.
I'm going to tell you, the reason why we don't go back to normal is because people seen how much money not being in a normal setting.
But it's a new normal though. Like it's almost like when a town has like a major earthquake, that town will never be the same as it was before. It will rebuild, and there will be a new normal now because there will always be that mindfulness of that earthquake that happened.
It won't be no more new normal than 9/11. 9/11 changed the landscape of security for the country for the foreseeable future. Coronavirus may change the landscape of healthcare.
But that's what I'm saying, though. That's new.
It's not going to be. But that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be that much of a new normal because regardless of the fact is that happening didn't create that much of a change. It did create a little hiccup in how we do things.
It gave us the TSA. It gave us the TSA.
That's it. It gave us TSA. I mean,
and also you got to take your shoes off every time you go to the airport. Now you got to make sure that you get to the airport at least an hour before. It ain't. You know what I'm saying? It ain't.
I think I feel what you're saying. Like I think you're both right. It's a new normal, but also there's things like for the most part, it's not gonna change enough for us to be like dang, like for instance, like insurance. And other things, they're going to have there's going to be like a COVID clause, or there's going to be, or you're going to probably have like 5 to 7% of the population now wearing masks. I know in the fall, I'm going to wear the mask, and I'm about to get my second shot. I'm about to wear a mask during the fall because I didn't get the flu. I didn't get a cold. My allergies, like I kept them here. So I wasn't really sneezing that much. So it was just like I took my allergy pill in the morning. I was good. The pollen wasn't bothering me. So it was just like there was a lot of benefits. And being around people breathing weird air, it's like.
I have a pretty strong immune system, so I really don't even really worry about it.
Say it don't bother you, yeah.
I do. I really do. So I don't even really worry about it. That's what I'm saying. Like I was around people who had COVID. So babies who had COVID. Like that just didn't. I don't know. My immune system is superb. But I also do. I do believe this. So I do believe coronavirus was here in the U.S. before anybody did know.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that I had caught it in 2019. So seriously. So when it first came, so at my job, we had a bunch of people when we were having like flu-like symptoms. Now me, because the way my body works, and like even if I got the flu really runs through me like hours. Like I may have it in me, but the symptoms like hours. Like stomach hurt, I'm like okay, I puke, I'm fine. Like that's how it works. That's me. And so with this, it was like something weird. Like my body. I was at work and it was like I got queasy. I started feeling certain type of way. Told my boss. I actually took the day off. I went home. I rested. I had orange juice, tea, all that. I felt fine. Let it run its course through my body. I went back, and we were all, and it was like right before Thanksgiving. And so for my job, we take 2 weeks off and it's the week of Christmas and New Year's, you know, and so we're all gone for those 2 weeks. By the time we had got back, coronavirus is in full fledged. So you're thinking about, you got Thanksgiving, and then you have a couple weeks in between there, and then we're off for 2 weeks. So about 2 months before it just became this big thing, you know, is when all these people were experiencing that. So I think some people, I've heard of other people experience something around that time, and it is kind of flu season, so you don't really know. But at the same time, I do believe it was here before we died, because as they're seeing, it mutates. They're talking about a new strand was just found. They got a new strand. UK found a new strand. There's a new country that got it now. Like,
really?
Korea or something. Yeah, today they just they're detecting this new strand. They haven't found it here yet, but obviously it can mutate. So, you know, we don't know what it started as.
Yeah, because I think you're right. What is it? Is it China? Japan? Japan's been hit hard because they got the Olympics coming up.
Yeah. And they're still trying to have it.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to have it anyway, and we just going
Too much money.
Exactly. It's too much money. And
ICO is not.
yeah, they're like, nah, you still going to, like, they not going to have no crowds. It's just going to be people performing. Because also they built all that stuff for the Olympics. Yeah. Like, it's crazy how much they build for the Olympics, and then after that, like, if you go to cities that have had stuff, like, it's like ghost town.
Ghost town. You just get your bread and then you out.
Yeah, and they leave the structures to rot because it's just like,
that's crazy. That's a waste.
It is. Yeah. Like, if you, like, I've seen pictures of the Athens where they had the one in Athens, where they had it at in Atlanta, where they had it, was it Brazil or was it Argentina? I forget which one it was. But every place they do it at, they always they don't keep it up.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because they already got the money to build.
Right. They just wanted that quick dollar.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was Vietnam. That's the place. It's Vietnam that got the new strain.
Oh, okay. That's what a lot of people go on vacation too.
They go to Vietnam for real?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, because of the beaches. And because it's cheap.
I ain't trying to go to Nam. I'm trying to see Charlie.
See, watch. I'm going to tell you right now. So, I think the United States, on record, has had, what, they said 30-something million people traveling this Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
So, this will let you know how much back to normal we going to go. Because regardless on that, we're not even at 50% of the population vaccinated. So that means that this thing is still here. And with all these people traveling now and doing all that, it'll let you know. So in 2 weeks, we'll know, how normal people want it to be.
Well, I'm saying it's definitely gonna be a force-fed thing, whatever it is. But I'm just saying, like, I just feel like the landscape has changed. Like the what do you call it? The not preoccupation, but there's gonna be guidance and there's gonna be safety mechanisms put in place, and even like how people work now, whether that's virtually or back in person, if you can decide that, I think those are all gonna be factors now moving forward.
I don't think so.
Are you gonna go? Are you going back full time?
My job asked me to, yeah.
Yeah, I work virtually, so I'll be virtual until. There's really no need for me to be in the office.
My job is already asked me to come back. I just because of everybody catching COVID around me, they wouldn't let me come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. I know a lot of people are just like, they kind of like, I feel like working from home now.
They do what's worse than the people who catch COVID. Actually, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't catch COVID, they do you worse than the people who catch COVID. So, say somebody around you catch, this is protocol. Say somebody around you catch COVID, right? And you go test, multiple tests, you get negative, right? They tell you what you have to do is wait till the COVID runs that course in them. Then wait 72 hours. After that 72 hours, then you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. It's like, well, if I'm
Just take a
testing
month
negative already, I mean, and so some people be like, and that's my thing. Some people, I think because the climate of America was until this point, like you had to work like a dog,
Yeah.
and because people this past year haven't had to. They think it's cool to just like when you get that time off. Oh yeah, you feel me? All is paid, yeah. And the ones who are used to working like that, it's not like that. It's like, bruh, I need something to do.
Right.
Like you feel me? I need to get back to my thing. You feel me? Like this is killing me.
That little time off was love, though. I ain't gonna lie.
I was getting in trouble. I get in trouble with time off. That's what I got a job for. It's because the time off was getting
Keep
me
me out
in
these
trouble.
streets.
Yeah, like, man.
Nah, that's crazy. No, I feel the same way.
Hey, so I got a question. This is kind of a different topic. So y'all been following like the whole little Vivica Fox 50 Cent thing a little bit?
Not really. I mean, I heard her
What?
say.
Explain it.
I heard her talk to DJ Vlad a little bit.
Yeah, so she professed like, that he was the love of her life and this and that.
Okay.
So my question is more so it's not related specifically to that, but it's like how do y'all deal with like exes that try to come back? You know what I'm saying? Or
I'm actually so. It's funny you talking about it because I'm actually reconciling with my ex. You feel me? And so. I do believe there is like this whole love of my life, and then there's this thing where it's like you could be the love of my life, and I don't want to I don't have to mess with you ever again, and you can still be that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I do believe that if you do entertain it, there's a heavy conversation that has to happen first, and you have to really understand why it fell apart and how you're going to reapproach it. And so like I would say for me, and I can't speak for her, but I can speak for myself. My biggest thing is not using the past to dictate the present.
That's hard.
And it is very hard. No, and so that's my thing. That's the hardest part about it. But I do think that's where people get caught up at. Because I don't think you can ever tell somebody you want to start new and focus on what made it fall apart, or focus on like I could see when you come back, you saying these are the things that I didn't like, and these are the things that we should work on. I can see that, and maybe a level of comfort getting in, and you remind that person, hey, like these are the things we talked about when we re-entered this. But I do think that if like you're in it and like say you guys have a disagreement about something and then you go way back in the relationship to pull out something that y'all ain't even that y'all been discussed before y'all even broke up the first time. Like when you do that, then it creates this tension. And I think women do this a lot. Because this is how they win. This is how they win battles. Because what it happens is they do that, and what it automatically does to you is put you in defense mode.
Yeah.
So now you're inflamed because you're trying to figure out where did this come from. That ain't got nothing to do with now.
But you know what part of that is because they're able to remember their emotions in that moment more than we do.
So this is what I do. When that comes up and that arises, I say, I'm not about to let you do that to this moment. No, I'm honest. I'm not going to let you do that to this moment. If we're having a good time or whatever, and then she bring up something from like along, I'm not going to allow you to do that. See, we was having a good time, and I wanted to enjoy this time with you. That right there is not going to do nothing but create attention. And I think communication, like in those times, are the healthiest things because I don't think people know how to communicate in arguments.
Right.
I think we know how to communicate when things are going good, but when the dynamic is about to shift, usually men get mad and women get the aha moment because whenever they feel like you got them cornered, they can do that to you and win in every argument because that's all they can use your anger as the reason for regardless on if you're logical or not. They can use your anger as the reason why they don't even want to hear why you logical.
Yeah.
It's
supposed to be. You're supposed to communicate through your anger, not communicate with your anger.
Definitely.
Like you're supposed to be able to communicate through it and say, I am mad. This is why I'm mad. And I can still be on fire. Like basically like flame. I could be like the Human Torch.
Definitely.
I could be, but he has to talk like a normal person. So he can't talk with his flames. He has to talk like a normal person. And that's the same way. It's like you gotta be able to have the conversation, because the other person can get you. They bring that old thing up and that makes you mad.
Well, one thing I learned about women is they want to be taught. They want to learn. They want to be led. Like, let's not get that wrong. Like, this whole independent woman thing, like, they want to be able to take care of themselves, but they do want to be around. They want a man, you know? And so the thing is like, even in these situations, these are all teaching moments. And if you can't teach in that situation, yet your response is always confrontation, or it gets to the point to where it's like, I can't even do this no more. And so now it's like, regardless on it, I don't even want to hear what you got to say, because everything comes out of your mouth is divisive, regardless on if it's facts or not.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that people had to understand. I realized that about myself, is that, and it was funny because you even said it last week, and we were talking, and I proved the point the whole time, and it fueled me that I proved the point, and y'all was still going on. And then Trey said something, and he was like, "You know what? You got a point." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was saying that the whole time. But it be like, but that's how us as men a lot of times respond. We feel like people aren't hearing us, and so we turn the level up, but. Excuse me. But it might not be the fact that you ain't hearing me. It may be my approach automatically makes you shut down. And so our job in relationship, not even just man and female, but just relationship, is to understand the people that we are in relationship with, like the Bible say, know those that you labor amongst, you know, is to understand those people so you know how to approach them. You know, I can't approach you the same way I approach Trey, you know, and I can't approach my girl the same way I approach my homies. And so understanding the difference between the two and what's successful is how you improve relationships, and especially those type of relationships. Like, and I think what Vivica was saying is that on their level, they don't have the ability to do that because where they were at when they both came in. Now, maybe you never know, like, you know, maturity or whatever, maybe they bring them back together again. But at that time, she was just saying who he was when he came in and who she was when she came in. Like, she was at the height of her game. He was just now coming in. Now the roles are kind of reversed. He's 50. He's at the height of his game regardless of if he rap or not. And she just Vivica A. Fox for the past. And so that's the thing. Like, if even with the role reversed, can she handle it? You know, because she's now the little fish. She not big fish. She ain't walking around red carpet Vivica Fox. He's walking around red carpet 50 Cent.
Yeah, he's still producing. He's still doing everything behind the scenes.
Well, I think she handled it in a mature way though, because like even like she like his new chick, Cuban Links, there was a little back and forth between them two, but Vivica was like, you know, I'm super happy for y'all, and I don't wish, you know, no ill will or nothing like that. So, you know,
and that girl, that girl just showed her ugly side, because nothing Vivica said should be offensive to, even if a woman was with 50, because she never said, I'm trying to give 50 back.
Well, she said he's the love of my. I mean, that's, I don't know. How would you know?
What she was saying was that there's nobody that can replace the type of relationship that me and 50 had, the connection that me and 50 had. If me and 50 never ever are together ever again, he's the best relationship experience that I had.
I could still see how she would be offended by that though, because not that is right, but you know, like that jealousy will kick up. Like, what you like trying to say? Like,
I mean, but it was a DJ Vlad interview. That's what people do at Vlad on Vlad TV.
I feel like it's a flare. It's like a flare going off, and you don't want nobody looking like, oh, what is that? Let me go find out what that was. Like 50 ain't gonna do that. If y'all together, even if somebody says I love him or like I'm gonna always love him, it's like okay, cool. Like
I still think it speaks to the security of yourself. Like for my mom, God rest her soul. My dad had this lady that he's known her whole life. I don't even know what their whole past was, but I knew for me in mine, if it was my chick and it was some dude she knew since high school and me and you married and he's still kind of hovering around, like we might got an issue. I knew that for me. But my mom did not have a problem with this woman at all. Not at all. And I got around my dad and realized that there was really even nothing to worry about because they were genuinely friends. But at the same time, my mom helped me understand the security that she had in herself. She was like, that man ain't going nowhere, regardless of what you say. And he had a good job. He still ain't going nowhere. That's my man. That's how you, to the point where my parents would go out to the bar. Club. They go out to the club and split up immediately as they got there. I went with her one time and told me, don't tell nobody we your dad, your mom, your brother, sister. No, for real. Because they understood about, they realized that a lot of times people get married and they stop enjoying life. Because the thing is you lose yourself sometimes in that marriage because you're trying to like cater to that other person. Right. But if you just trust that person, you know, you can still allow that person to have fun, be themselves, and nothing would happen. I watched my parents be in the same bar. My mom get free drinks all night from dudes, dancing, all that. They dancing to the 112 and the bumping and the grinding and all that. And I see my dad on the other end, and he 2-drink dude, you feel me? And he buying drinks for chicks, and he over there doing his little thing, right? And then, you know, they do last call, and my dad, whoop, 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 look around, hey, you know, wrap your thing up, you know, and that's what and whatever they did when they got home is what they did. But my mom also told me one thing. She said, see, what happens is your dad, he gonna go out there. He gonna do a little buy you a drink thing, you feel me? And he gonna go around, and the girls, he gonna talk around, he gonna get all worked up, you know? And I might do the same thing on my side. And when we get home, guess who's getting all that worked up energy?
We taking all the aggression out on each other.
And so I think sometimes I looked at some of the best marriages were the most secure people because I don't have to control your life. Yeah. I'm secure that the person that I married is the person that I married, and if that's the case, you do who you are because that's who I married. I didn't marry you to change. I married that person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got a lot more couples now that are open about that. Like you got a lot more couples now open about being swingers or being like, and that's not even.
Oh, I'm not talking about swingers.
No, I'm saying that's not a swinging life. But you got people who are swingers. Like I seen somebody post about Christian swingers. That's interesting. About Christian couples who are 100% in the church and 100% like swingers. Like then they say it helps them be better.
I can't be mad at you because God says come as you are. So I mean that's what I'm saying. Like we can't pick and choose, but you know what I'm saying. Like we can't pick and choose what a Christian look like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but is it?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, hold on. How many times have we seen pastors on a? Hold on. There was not too long ago a pastor had a dominatrix threesome on the pulpit at his church. You can look it up. I'll tell you, at least it was this year.
I'm not talking about.
Look it up right now.
You hear about the
white
pastor,
dude?
The
pastor. He had dominatrix, and he videotaped it on the altar. The church burned the altar.
There was a pastor who she left from being a pastor, and now she got an OnlyFans. And she got OnlyFans. She make. What she said, she was making $100,000 a month.
But that's what I'm saying. Like people don't get it. Like these like church people are regular people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we look in the Bible. You look at the type of people that Jesus walked with. They weren't like scholars. They weren't like the highest people in the church. They weren't like they didn't have their life always all put together, and they still were rough around the edges while they were with Him. And so that helps us and I think people don't look at that to say that, it's not about where you're at. It's about where you're going, you know? And so, yeah, that might be, you may be a polygamist and want to come into Christ. And when I came into church, I was going on trips with chicks to Bremerton and Bellingham and Yakima and Senior, and we was getting hotels at the Red Light Inn, and the back page was still popping, and I was in the church, like. So I mean, it doesn't speak to who you are, like. It doesn't speak to your character, like what you do when you come to Christ. It speaks if you're able to mature and eventually like evolve and say, you know what, maybe this isn't the way I'm supposed to live, then you're growing. Now, if you wanna walk in that way and still say like, yeah, this is cool, I'm good, I'll never change this, then that's a different thing. But I think we always should give people a room to grow. Now, I mean, that depends on how long they've been in it too. Yeah. You found it?
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah, it was like Roman Catholic or something.
Told you.
He was getting it in with 2 chicks on the altar.
Yeah. They burned it, huh? Yeah. Told you.
They burned the altar?
Yeah.
They was in there getting it in, dog.
I would tell you something. When I heard the story, I thought it was a black church. When they say they burned the altar, I was like, oh, that's definitely a black church. It was like, oh,
how you gonna pray at that?
But that's what I'm trying to say. When I seen it was a white church, I said, oh, even the white folks is gangster with it. They said, oh, we're burning this altar.
Butt cheek prints on the altar.
Man.
Well, what kind of altar was it? On the
podium.
The
podium.
What kind of podium was it?
I don't know.
You can't fit more than one person on the podium.
But he was getting it in on it.
Sheesh, man, it's
that
crazy.
Was funny.
Crazy.
Ain't that funny?
Yeah, bro.
Of all the places, like.
Yeah, that's like.
I'm like, hold on. What made you think when you did that? Now, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
but you always want to do what you can't. You know, you want that forbidden fruit. So it's like, you know, in the church, like of all places, like in the middle of, like that's some.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, we worship around a bunch of missteppers, like. And the higher the level, the higher the devil. You feel me? Like the more you're into, the higher your struggle finna be. You know.
Man.
I mean, you hear about Kirk Franklin. I mean, some of the guys at some of the highest states talk about the battles, the strongest battles that they've had. You know, Pastor Michael Todd, like. These people talk about these things because when you have this level of responsibility, the level of struggle that you have is stronger because you can't come out here and feed these people if you ain't really been through.
I say spiritual warfare.
Exactly. You got to take your Jesus beating. See, it's the thing. You can't expect to get the blessings that Jesus had for you if you don't go through the beating, the mockery, the death. That's why he died daily. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to do that to be able to get the fruits of the Spirit.
But that's wild.
Yeah.
Like you can't even. I can't even think about like somebody walking in on that. It was like, what are y'all? Yeah. What are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing? But it's been a lot of pastors. I feel like it's been a lot of stuff as far as churches go. Lately, the pastors like John Gray got hit up 2020 a couple times.
Ain't he been getting hit up though? It's like a consistent thing.
Time,
like, bro, like nah, bro. He.
The Hillsong, like,
oh yeah,
Hillsong, basically, like, either a lot of them done left, or they just got called out recently, like, basically, like, being famous, like, it really messed up their witness and their message, them getting famous, how they did.
But even people don't even talk about it. Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
Reverend Al Sharpton was an informant for the feds because he got popped doing a drug deal way back in the day. A lot of people don't even know that. You feel me? Like some of these, like, you know how they got these mafia guys that's coming out right now telling their story because they done been able to walk away from being men, and they're telling these stories. And one of the guys, Michael Fazesi or whatever, who walked away in probably like the early 90s or whatever, he was talking about that, how Al Sharpton how Al Sharpton got popped doing drug deals because he was talking about like how things worked back then and how like they like running clubs and stuff like that. So he was talking about like, you know, to get black talent you know, they would go through the guys like Al Sharpton and them to get them the black talent, you know, and so they kind of got connected with the mafia, and so you know, I'll probably try to do do his own thing, and you know, when you're connected with those type of dudes, people keep a little eye on you, and he got popped, and dude was like for 100%, he was like Al Sharpton was an informant, he was like 100%, you know, and that's the thing, like people don't talk about that. And a lot of the things that some of these guys do get buried, and they'll sit here and they'll tell you, you know, to live a certain way, and they live the way that they live, and it's a lot of reason why Christianity struggles today.
Yeah, because you have a lot of pastors. You got some pastors who, small and big, who always they don't they'll get forgiven by the church. Somebody make excuses. They'll blame the woman, and then they keep going. Like John Gray probably shouldn't be doing he stepped on his wife like twice.
But old Christians think that that's cool. Like that's just that's how they got down. Like back then, you know, like these younger guys that are talking about they're being transparent with their struggles and, you know, their transgressions while they're on the pulpit. Those are the guys that are getting a lot more respect, because even if they do make another mistake, people always feel like they've been honest with them the whole time. Sure. It's like Derek Jackson. When he got hit, people felt a certain type of way with him because you weren't honest with them this whole time. So even if you talked about it as the way it's like, I am becoming this person because I've had relationship struggles, then if you misstep, then people are like, well, you know, he's been open about that. We know this is struggle. But because you hid who you were, and then when it happened, it was like, bro, you always hard on everybody else about their relationship. You hid the fact that you had one, and you out here misstepping on yours, bro. We don't want to hear that, you know? You
out here misstepping. Not only misstepping, but you was misstepping and then doing videos while at the house.
Yeah, wasn't even smart enough
to pull down the block.
No pictures, no nothing, not even get an NDA or anything. Like,
no, it's wild. It's a lot of stuff going on. What else do we want to talk about? It's not too much going on in the news.
Man, what you got? The anniversary of Tulsa coming up. You know?
Yeah. Shit, anniversary of George Floyd too just passed.
Yeah,
passing.
Yeah, Tulsa. They had that lady on Capitol Hill. She was talking. She was a survivor of the massacre.
Yeah, she was with the walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read this book called Black Fortunes recently, man. It talked about, man, how that whole thing could have even just been, it didn't have to happen. You know what I'm saying? It was like on both sides. Like, it was just unfortunate.
So check this out. I don't even know if I should say this, but I am. All right. So I was talking to a vet, and we were having this conversation, and we started talking about World War II, and we were talking about Nazi Germany and what they were doing. And then we started talking about America and what they was doing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we never, and even as black folks, we never talk about this. We never talk about that America was no different than Nazi Germany when Nazi Germany was operating the way that they was operating with the concentration camps.
Nazi Germany got their playbook from the U.S.
Hear me out, though. So when all the concentration camps was going on and all that, America was sitting over here minding their own business. Mm-hmm. So the thing is we really didn't have no say-so in what was going on in Germany until their allies got us involved.
Yeah.
So once we got attacked, it was like, okay, now we got to do something. And we took the reward of freeing the people that have been oppressed by Germany. Not understanding that we were oppressing people at the same time. So so when you look at the way that we whitewash the history, if we were separating people by classism just like Germany was.
Mm-hmm. Still are.
Exactly. And we saved people from that. We boasted about that. We prop it up in history. At the same time, do we not talk about how the same practices were being operated here on this soil?
Yep.
And so I always talk about like trying to find the way, like progression. I feel like always progression, even when you go to therapy, they're always trying to find what's the root issue because that's the only way you can figure out for it. And a lot of times when you don't talk about things like this or even acknowledge them, and America has done a good job of redirecting us so that we don't even think about acknowledging them. Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about it until I was sitting here talking to a veteran, somebody who served in the military, who fought for this country. No, mind you not, like for real, done mad tours, like, and I'm sitting here talking to him, and he's breaking this down to me, and I'm saying, dang, like even you as a vet, like he's saying, nobody talks about this. Not even us that's fight for this country, that's trained, that have the history on the military of this country. None of us look at it at it like that. And so I think America first, like beyond slavery, has to admit not necessarily that's what slavery, Jim Crow, all that was the same practices of an Adolf Hitler. Yep. Because what they try to do is demonize Adolf Hitler and have us praise them for everything that they did. But if Adolf Hitler would have been successful, who wouldn't have said that Nazi Germany wouldn't have been the supernation of the world? Because obviously attacking us, their plan was obvious world domination, and we were next on the list.
Well, U.S. is a master marketer, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so they know how to color things a certain way and spin it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what happened. They made it look pretty.
Definitely.
And a lot of folks bought into it.
They still are too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think like we don't talk about like, cause there was, the Tulsa one was bad, but there was other ones that are just as bad that don't get as much say because partly because those communities, the people who hold the information, they buried it. Like the one in Wilmington.
Us was at the Boston Massacre.
Yeah, the one in Wilmington that happened in Wilmington. Is it Wilmington? I think it's Wilmington, North Carolina. The one that happened there. Every time somebody went to go look up information on it at the library, they was like, "Why are you looking that up?" Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it was kind of like safeguards against people learning about it. Mm-hmm. And when you find out, like when you look at the story, it was the same situation. You had black farmers and black businessmen doing way more, running for office, being successful, and then you had the poor white farmers or the poor white people coming in and saying, "Hey, you can't do this," and you had one or two people who were like, "Yeah, we can't have that no more," and then spreading lies.
Yeah, about somebody raped a white woman or something like that.
And see, the thing is, it's not necessarily saying that they don't like everybody else. It's the fact that they wanted to create a system to where everybody had to rely on them. Because if you really pay attention to it, is everything that they feared was self-sufficiency. See, anything that ran self-sufficient at the beginning of the establishment of America, they were totally against. Because now, you kill all these people, right? What happens? Fear of establishing self-serving communities, self-running communities, and now we rely. What do black people do now? Rely on the government to live more times than not. Majority of us rely on the government to live, and it's not purposely. It's the environments we in, the situations that we're put in. You know, food stamps, TANF, all those things. You know, free lunch, all those things. Like, people become wards of the state before they know who their own identity. Like, and that's part of being in a black and brown communities. Like, that's part of being in that, is being raised off of that. And the reason why we're not monolithic is because you have those people who understand that beginning, and then you have the ones that despise it so much that they work so hard to disenfranchise themselves from the community. And so that's why we can't figure it out. And, you know, with everybody else, you know, they'll get the food stamps and all that, and then they work together to figure out how to raise each other up. For us, we get mad at each other for accepting the situation instead of trying to figure out how to get each other out of the situation.
Also, man, that's a lot of self-hate. I was listening to the, I don't know if y'all heard the Kwame Brown, Joe Brown interview that they did together. Joe Brown was just breaking down, like, the history of how, like, a lot of things got to where they are today.
Is that when he was talking about Charlemagne? Just Joe Brown?
I didn't get to the part of Charlemagne, but it was supposed to cover all of that. He said a lot. He had a lot. All right. But so with this specific part, though, he was saying how America spent 50 years pretty much like marketing to black people like self-hatred. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. And so that's why a lot of that, even like where we're ashamed of like welfare and how other communities will use welfare to lift themselves up. Yeah. But we dog each other out. Right, right. And also too, like, if you look at it, like, we're like the only community where somebody can make a good amount of money or reach a certain level of success, and we
make fun of them.
And we
call smart people nerds. Like, it's like, oh, you all nerds. You ain't. You feel me? Like, why are we making fun of people for being educated?
Right.
But that's just like what you said. That self-hate marketing. We didn't know nothing to do but hate ourselves. Yep. Because if we loved ourselves, we'd be that self-operating community.
Right.
You know, so a Tulsa, Oklahoma, a Wilmington, things like that. Those were places that make us hate ourselves subconsciously. Because the thing is you may think it's like, oh well, no, that's just. But when you see when you see people dying for being successful, just think about what that does to a person's psyche.
Right.
I was thinking about it earlier today because I was like, you know, we talk about the police and how we teach our children to respond to them. We learn from a place of submission.
Yeah.
We teach from a place of submission. That's our stronghold. Our biggest influencers, Martin Luther King, taught from a place of submission. You know? Now, Malcolm X taught from a place of resistance. You know? But that didn't go over well with everybody. But we also see that towards the end of his death, he wasn't finna be speaking that message. Now, he wasn't going to probably go as far as submission, but he knew that the way we were operating didn't need to be operating that way. We didn't even need to be fighting with white folks. He knew that much. You know? And so that's the thing. Like, we teach this whole forgiveness, submission thing, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. You know, but by us teaching that's probably have been a detriment to our society. You can't empower a black man that feel like he gotta tuck his tail between his leg every time he get in the room of people that don't look like him. You know, and the only way that he feel like he can be successful is to separate himself from the people that look like him. Yeah. And that's the society we live in.
Well, you also got to think, too, like, at one point, it was outlawed for us to even read. And so you can imagine, like, say there's a group of black kids. One of them is, like, sneaking off to learn how to read. You could almost see, like, those other black kids ridiculing that other black kid. Yeah. Or, like, the mother or father saying, you know, shit, Master gonna get you for doing that. And, like, I could just see it. Like, terms, I don't know where the term nerd came from, but you could almost see, like, that culture of being derogatory toward learning as a protection mechanism, not even as something to be harmful, but more so like don't do that, and you discourage it, and then it becomes generational.
Well, that's where it came. That's where how us teach our kids about police. That's where that come from. Slave days. It's you wanted your kids to act a certain way because and we discipline them a certain way. Like the way we discipline is harder than everybody else. We discipline a certain way because it was like either you're gonna take this discipline or our math is gonna kill you, or almost kill you, or kill you. Yeah. And so we discipline to save them from that type of discipline. Yeah. To the reading, that's when you got the William Lynch letter and the separation of people. Because there wasn't very many people that did work in the field that knew how to read. A lot of people that worked in the house knew how to read, not knowingly the master, but they had the resources to be able to learn how to read.
And it was around it.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, and so when they even talk about like the first black screenwriter, he was a slave. He was a house slave. You know, and so, but even then, so you
is that a true thing?
That's what's a myth? It's a myth, but I mean, even it makes more sense than anything because they had the resources. You think about it, the diets, they had better diets because they didn't eat slops. They ate seconds or they ate leftovers from what Master and them ate, but they didn't eat the slops from what they didn't cook. You know, and so. There's always that distance. So when we've always been set apart from each other based on classism in our own community, and based on how you live, you see a dude with a ninja and he's juicing and everything. He don't feel the same way about the dude that's eating chitlins at Thanksgiving. You know, he feel like, and that's just the way we live in the white community or in other communities. To say they're not necessarily like that. Now there's a classism in the white community, and you see that in the Republican Party. You have and even you see it right now. The dudes in the suit, the reason that they look crazy right now is because they're trying to appeal to rednecks, and they're not rednecks, you know. But that's just what it was. There was a separation of that for a long time. Rednecks didn't even vote.
Yeah, because part of it was that they were looked at as low class, like they were looked at as like you're not really worth us talking to. We're gonna talk to the business class because they're the ones that's gonna give us money, but. It was kind of Obama kind of started this
all hands on deck.
The little $5, $10 share, because before it was $100, $500. Yeah, it was $500, $1,000 at these dinners and stuff. Yeah. But now Obama and them was like, hey, give me $5. Put $10. Put $20. Law, we'll call in. Hey, all you got is a couple $175, and then
give me your bottle caps.
And then Trump took it and said, "Hey, the people who aren't getting talked to, who aren't intellectual, who aren't what is it?
No, Trump. This is what Trump did. Well, he said, "Oh, snaps, it's a money grab. Hold on, hey," and that's what I'm trying to say. He just appealed to whatever. He didn't care. It was like, how am I going to make this money? Because you see now, he got Rico case on him. He got Rico case on his head. He got boys. They on his ass. How am I going to make this money real quick? Yeah. You feel me? So
y'all like the color purple? We about to sell. We about to sell the color purple.
Because they said 75% of whatever he made, especially this last election. Whatever he can use for whatever he wants to.
Yeah, and it was in the writing. He even put it in the. He had people. The thing about Trump is that Trump used the long held idea. If you can make these lesser people
feel important,
yeah, they'll take you up.
That's the play.
They'll lift you above the people. Even though they're less than.
That's the
even though they're less than.
I love Trump. Let me tell you why. Because he showed us something. He showed us something that nobody else in politics would ever show us. When we talk about Make America Great Again, everybody's like, oh, he tried to take us back to the time. Oh, he took us back. He took us back to where somebody will call you a nigger to your face. Because basically that's what's going on. Because when you say Black Lives Matter and they say, no, all lives matter, that's pretty much what that is.
Yeah.
And to people to feel comfortable saying that, regardless of whatever happened to them, these people were comfortable with those rebuttals because he created a platform for them to feel like they could say whatever they wanted to. So...
Hey, some of them got their asses whooped though too. Let's not overlook that.
I'm not gonna.
You can all that all lives matter shit if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Times have changed. You feel me? Times have changed.
Thanks.
Black folks don't feel like they gonna get lynched the same way that they was gonna get lynched back in the day.
And then now you get called out. Now they'll dox you, and then find out where you work.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you got your job talking like you was talking about being racist. Like you was talking.
That was funny with the Capitol riots. Like a lot of the people went back to work.
Yeah, they was just like,
but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Being racist costs companies.
Yeah.
And they're hey, check this out, bro. You know, it's either me or you. You feel me?
Yeah, it ain't gonna be us.
It ain't gonna be us.
Well, that's an even bigger topic because I think over like 20 years I think like Citigroup did a study. Some economic group did a study like systemic racism cost this country like $16 trillion over the last 20 years.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
People are not willing to be boycotted anymore. As much money as the black dollar burns in this country, like I mean, but they say the black dollar, the average black dollar lasts in
like
the black hand like not even. They say it's like 8 minutes or something.
Because it don't even really circle. It doesn't like with the other races. It just
because they have
we have no sense of group economics.
Well, it's man, that's systemic.
But but I feel like
shout out to Killer Mike because he's trying.
Yeah, but I'm still mad. I still ain't got my Greenwood account.
Yeah.
What you mean? Like you
set
it up?
He Dr. Umar Jew. He said he finna start a bank. And
he said he was going. They said they was going to start that bank, and they started the bank.
I
But
I was about to sign up, but I was like,
you need to wait a little bit.
You got to wait. I was like, I'm like 25,000.
Yeah.
It's like you got a bunch of people waiting.
What you mean 25,000?
There's a waiting list of over almost 100,000 people who wanted to put some money in this bank because it's different. Like, say you live in LA. Say you live in LA, and there's no black banks that you think of. There might be some. There are some, but there's no black banks. So these internet banks are easier to hook up your direct deposit. You're putting money and you know where your money is going.
I had a Go Bank for the longest.
I got
BCU too.
I got One United, and that's the bank. That's the black bank, and I use that one. I use that one for checks and stuff.
Dang, I got One United too. That's a black bank.
Yeah, One United's the biggest. It's the biggest. It's the biggest one.
Black bank. I know. I got it.
It's the biggest one.
Got it when I signed up for financial aid.
But if we had more and we were in communities and stuff like that, it would be way more we could do. It'd be way more they could do. But since there's internet ones, they have to do these things. Like they have to get a spokesperson like that. And Killer Mike is that. But I'm still waiting for them to.
So what is it like? What are you waiting on though? Like for them to set it up to where you can actually get an account.
Yeah, you need a card and stuff.
Yeah, you got it. They're not trying to do it at the same time. It was crash basically. It was crash. So
pretty much
it got too popular.
Pretty much they're like the clubhouse of banks.
Yeah. It got popular because he was talking about it.
They put the cart before the horse a little bit.
Yeah, he was talking about it, and so they were like, "Here's his waiting list."
Well, that's not a bad
problem.
But
it's not. I mean, it's not a bad problem. It's not a bad thing.
I'd rather have that problem than not have something.
Not having access to your deposits.
Yeah. Obama instead of a Dr. Umar.
Yeah.
Obama with health care, we knew there was some. It wasn't 100%, but everybody had health care.
Dr. Umar said he got the schools though. He got the properties.
He got the money?
No, he's been had the money, but he's actually got the properties.
He ain't got no money.
He
got money.
So the last time he was on the Breakfast Club, he said that
he just
they need the work done. So
hold on. No. What did he say? He said, "Do we need the work done?" But what'd he say? Ain't nobody reaching out to me saying, "Oh, I got an HVAC business. I'll do it for free." Like that's what he's expecting to. See, that's the problem with black folks. And see, the thing is you want somebody to come do a service for you for free.
Well, no.
That's what he said.
Well, I think part of what he was saying is we could have our school up and running if that is what happened. But he said that the reason why they're not open is because we're still having to raise money to get these things done. Okay. But he was putting it out there like, and I think that's notable. Like if you have something, and that's what the community used to do back in the day. Like you come around somebody,
bro, he been getting donations for the school for like 10 years. You telling me with the bill, he ain't got nobody to come in and do HVAC, and even then, you're telling me that you've opened up a school and you don't got a line of credit? Like you can't get a company to come out here and start working on it?
But I think that's the thing right there is that if that's what he's saying is that it's harder for us to do a all black school because there's other barriers. We don't have a college, and I think but that speaks to both sides. It speaks to one.
LeBron James put a school up, and it seemed like he knew exactly what to do to get it done. My thing is that
he's in Akron, and it'd be like that's like Michael Jordan going to North Carolina and saying, "I want to open a school." He's opened up hospitals.
That's why I'm saying Dr. Umar's bull, because my thing is with that influence, if anybody thought you were a man of credibility, you're telling me you have this idea, which is an amazing idea, and you have not had anybody with any influence put any of that behind you in 10 years. I mean, what he was talking about that Sharp was talking about, he had a similar interview 4 years prior to that saying the same exact stuff. So my thing is,
he didn't have a school. He didn't have a school back then, though.
I don't think he had the building.
He didn't have the buildings.
But I think I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying that he been doing, like he been saying this for a while.
So
but
he got the building, right? You ain't even got the plan for the building. Like my thing is, in these HVAC, you got all this. You don't even know of any companies that you couldn't even ask for. You couldn't even put the pressure to any company. Say, I asked this company or whatever. But you also want people to do free work for you. Like, and that doesn't happen. And that's the thing with black people. We want somebody who already has an established business to come in and do the free work. What? But if it wasn't a black business, if the white dude came up in here, you would pay him every single dime he's asking for.
I think we're just it's just two different ways of looking at it.
I seen that interview. He literally said he ain't got nobody who work in HVAC coming to him talking about that they would do the work on the building for him. That's what he said.
I don't think he was necessary. I think it just presents a barrier, right? Like he's saying, if we had this, then we could be up and running within 3 weeks.
Yeah, I feel like he was saying that. I feel like I get what you're saying, that you're saying that he shouldn't be looking for people to just donate stuff so he can get his vision up
or just step up.
But I think also it's the fact that, like with the whole LeBron situation, LeBron put up a part of his money, and then the school, and then the state or the city put up a lot more money to finish the school, to get it up and running, to get the kids going and all those stuff. I think Umar is missing that part, and I think he's missing the part where
I think Umar just doesn't have a plan, and I think that's what he's missing. Because I'll tell you this right now: who starts a business, who buys a building, knows that it needs some type of structural work, but don't have a plan on how to get that done. Like the thing is that everybody's talking about he's obviously operating like an amateur, but he's talking like he got the cheat code to the game. And that's the problem that people have with Dr. Umar. You're operating like a novice, yet you're talking to everybody like you got the answer. Yeah. But you don't got the answer, Sway.
But I think if you're doing something that hasn't been done before, or something that maybe you haven't done before, there is that possibility where like things come up that you didn't see. Like if you're just getting into real estate for the first time and you're gonna flip a house, you might not know all of the expenses that come with that. You might have a general idea, But that doesn't mean that you're going to know everything that comes up. And there's times where the project stalls because there was that unforeseen circumstance. So I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that, you know, if you're trying to do something.
And most people don't do business with those type of people. Because the thing is that you're not prepared for when the loss does happen. Or when the setback does happen, you're not prepared for it. See, now what we're talking about is Dr. Umar Johnson got a useless building because he wasn't prepared to make the next step if he got a building. That's the problem that we're talking about. So how can you're telling me that you would trust your sons with a man like that don't even know how to plan out the legacy that he's building for them?
Another way of looking at that is, I mean, it might have been an opportunity to get those buildings. And it's like, we got to jump on this. This might take all the money that we have right now, and we'll just figure out the rest later. But we got to get those properties. I could see that.
Okay, but then that's even if that's the case. You got property taxes. You got all these other things that come up that take money. So if you go invest your whole future into getting the building without understanding how to maintain it, already a bad business move. And this is the person that you trust, that people will trust their kids in the hand of. He's obviously not operating like an intelligent person. He can't put together something of intellect to be able to push people into the next millennium. Like, it don't make any sense. It's like counting your chickens. It's like counting the eggs counting your chickens before the eggs hatch. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get that, and I think there's a truth to that. Like, I think he does come off a certain way, and I feel like we have people that have more the knowledge that he has, maybe having a different package, but they don't want the notoriety. They don't want they don't want the podium. They might want the platform, but they don't want the podium for the platform. And so I think we have people like we have people talking a lot, but there's no real action. Like Boyce Watkins.
There's no action to the words.
There's no action. Like Boyce Watkins. I like listening. I'll listen to him. He has some hard truths, and I think it's good. But at the same time,
sometimes it be hot air though.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes it be hot air where it's like,
because you could tell cats that just be wanting to line.
Yeah, you could just like
and,
yeah.
And
you
that's
got
what Umar's thing is. If he had a lot more action in behind what he did, I think people would jump behind him. But to people, it just seems like a dude that can talk good who's super arrogant. And that is his downfall.
Yeah, I'll say this, just to the point of, like, even apart from him as a person, I think there are those opportunities in life where sometimes you just got to take that leap of faith, and you might not necessarily know the next step. And it's important that if you have a dream, that you believe in it that much that you're willing to do that. And I think there's a lot of people, Black, white, Hispanic, from all different types of backgrounds, that have done that, and it turned out to be something that was great. So I do want to say that. Like, I don't think that you have, like, most people, when they become successful, it's not that they had the full plan in place when it happened. They had a vision and they went on it. And then the other part I'll say too is that I think what he is trying to do is notable. Like, if you take it apart from him as a personality, I think the fact that he is trying to create something that is like for Black children, Black education, I think that's notable, and you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, I'm not taking that away from him.
Yeah, I definitely think like he has some credibility issues because of things that happened prior.
But I also want you to understand this. What difference does that make white America? If white America puts together, like right now, they're talking about all these infrastructure bills for the African American community, and they talk about legalizing marijuana and the benefits that it could have for the African American community, right? And so with all that, you feel me? All that sounds good, but does that change everything that they did?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying is, regardless on what Dr. Umar Johnson says that he wants to do, his drive and his actions does not prove that. To me, honestly feel like him buying the building was just to shut people up. Like literally, because people have been complaining for a long time about where their money was going because he was getting donations. So now you have this. But guess what? You don't have money to do HVAC or do anything else, but yet you could travel on these press releases. You can do all this other stuff by the leisure, not necessarily like you slum dogging it. You're doing it in elegance. So what I'm trying to tell you is what are you really doing with the money? What is going on with money? And how can you always benefit and profit off of everything, but everything around you monetarily and financially struggles? That makes no sense. And so I can't give Dr. Umar his flowers for the simple fact is, regardless on what you say you want to do, Oprah said she wanted to build a school in Africa for girls. Guess what happened? She did it. LeBron said he wanted to build a school in Akron. Guess what happened? He did it. The people who can open their mouth and get people to listen to them and have that influence know how to make things happen. Dr. Umar knows how to make things happen. He also is the Black Trump. He knows how to market well, and all he is doing is profiting off of his words.
That's true too. I think that's definitely true too. I just wish I had the money. I would give him the money. I would be like, there would be swinging strings attached. I'd be like, look,
I wouldn't give him the money. If I had the money, I'd just do it myself. I wouldn't even trust Dr. Umar to do it. You feel me?
Well, I think you could put. I think it does speak.
You could be my principal. You feel me? That's about it.
Okay, and I think that's what the thing. I think the thing is like he wants to be the superintendent, have a superintendent style control over it, and I think it would be good for Black educators, but
it'd be good for Black kids.
It would, but I feel like it
the concept is amazing.
Yeah, but if it's just it just needs a different. He needed a different spokesperson.
Yeah, like, needs a different face.
Because it's plenty of Black people with money. Like if it was a different, like if they said he was going to step away, and there was an educator, somebody who's been in administration for years, was going to take over. Their personal life was not an issue.
Yeah,
I don't care. Lil Wayne could step in and take it over. I would feel more comfortable with that. You feel me?
You would have a lot more people say, "Okay, here's the money. Like here's funds." Now that you got Umar, and Umar can stay on the board.
But see, I think that's the thing, though, is because he does not have a successful financial career on his own. Giving him all this money and trusting that he's going to do the right thing with it is the problem that people are having. Because you can't tell me that you've had this vision for this long. You've been talking about it on the mainstream for this long, and you're just now, like, building. You know, like, I just don't see that. I know churches that are smaller, that when it comes to building, they got less money too. They can find a building and know how to maintain. See, because that's the thing. You like if you're Dr. Umar Johnson, if you're smart and say you were having money issues, like don't nobody just outright buy a building. You know, you lease the building, like, come on. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, people, he can say things, dress it up. He dress it up good. Because in the interview, he also said this, right? He said, no Black community has the four establishments of any good community. A school to educate the people, a hospital to save the people, a bank to invest in the people, a grocery store to feed the people. He said that, right? Of course. You feel me? Of course. Because he's like a salesperson. He already got a script. You know, he just to sell the product is follow this, Dr. Umar, and we'll get into the promised land. That's what he is. He's a salesman.
We got to get Dr. Umar on the show, man.
he can explain the whole thing.
So,
But I
so
be,
I can
but
break them down. Break them down to a molecule.
But here's the thing, like when I see other communities and what they have, and I'm like, oh, like I'll go into the Asian like marts and realize that the Asian marts have the bank, the entertainment, the grocery,
Taxidermies.
They have the money exchange where they can sit, and then also remittance vendors, and they have everything there.
Yes,
and you're just like
vertical integration.
Yeah, and you're like this is not only at one spot; it's at a lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of their spots. And to be outside, it'd be another restaurant of theirs, another bank of theirs, and all these different ones.
Right.
And as ironic as it is, when they privatize the licensing industry in here, they can teach you how to drive too.
Yep. That's the crazy. That's the crazy thing about this state is that in other states you don't have that. The DMV is not privatized.
I didn't even know that.
Yep, I got my license in some Asian dude house. Serious, swear to God. No, on Beacon Hill, right next to the little 76. Their house right there. Boom, went in there. There was people in the kitchen and everything. You feel me? It was like seriously. They had a bunch of tables set up. We came in, did the test. They had somebody go take you around the corner, do your little driving, and you cool. You got your license. Then you go to the DOL and they give you your license. Like it was, I was. Cause I didn't know either. Like, last time I remember years before, I went down to Orcas, you feel me, and did it down there on Rainier. Right. So they told me they had privatized it, and it was a little Asian.
You got a bunch of different businesses who do them.
Yeah.
Who do, and they make money.
Yeah, they make money. Yeah.
And it's like you would think that, like,
I don't even know. I wonder if they folks be paying them off for the. Well, because you think about it, and I'm just being real, like. There's not no government officials in there monitoring who's right or wrong on these tests, you know, and how you pass these driving tests. Like,
hopefully they're doing samples of auditing or whatever. Like,
what do you mean? All you got to do is have somebody in there that know the test. Just take the test. You don't even have to know the test to take the test. All you have to do is just pay them, and all they got to do is fill it in for you. Because it's not it's not like that. Because this is what I'm saying. Like literally, it's like walking into a room like this. There's no security guards. It ain't no federal agents or anything like that. Yeah. It's just a regular people house. I don't know how everybody do. How I did this regular folk house. Yeah. I walked up in there, like I said, they was cooking in the kitchen. There's people sitting down at the table and everything like that, eating and everything. Yeah. Like I walked in, I swear you think it's a game. I walked in, they gave me the thing. I filled it out. It wasn't even like they came in the room. We had all took the test. It was a bunch of us in there. They was greasy too. They came in the room and they was just like, yeah, you failed. Like they was. That's how unorganized and unprofessional it was. But they let them have
That's crazy.
And they ran their thing. So that's why I wouldn't put it past the fact that if they knew somebody that probably couldn't read or write that well, just pay them a couple $100 extra and then you're good. You passed.
Damn, that's scary.
Well, I mean, you see, how many of them can't drive? I'm just saying, it's like night and day. You feel me?
They all passing each other.
It's either they're doing like donuts, parallel parking into a spot and getting out breakdancing. You feel me? Or they're stuck in the middle of the street trying to figure out where they at. It's just only those two. It's night and day. There ain't nothing in between. You feel me?
Well, on that note, we're about to get out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hit us up on the Facebook, Instagram, Black Pew Podcast, and the YouTube page. This will be posted.
Hit us up on the Twitter.
Hit us up on the Twitter machine. The Twitchers.
We don't do the tweets because the tweets. That's Trump. That's Trump land.
He ain't there no more.
I know. But that's what I'm just saying.
He about them streets.
He ain't about to.
Nah, he can't take all Twitter, man.
Nah.
Twitter belong to Elon Musk now.
Yeah, because he
feeling Trump shoes now.
He make the money. Like he's like, oh, I'm putting more money.
Bitcoin is down.
It's down. Yeah.
And everything shoot down.
Dogecoin up, all of a sudden it go up. What is his,
He like the Wiz.
What is his company?
The color is green.
What's his company? What's
Tesla.
the rocket?
So is Elon Musk
SpaceX.
now, So is
SpaceX.
it okay to call Elon Musk like the Rain Man?
I don't think so. He still got him and Bezos still. They're
So what
still.
you talking about? He autistic.
Oh, like that. Oh, probably a little bit.
I'm just saying, like.
But he said he on the spectrum, but he could be on the low.
But
low end.
regardless of what you want to call it, right? He autistic and he banking. So I mean, his brain works some way to where everybody else don't.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like you know, that's what I'm saying. So he obviously Rain Man. You know, he going to Vegas and hitting them. You feel me? He just went to the America's financial system. He went to the world's financial system and hit them. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He said Tesla. Boop.
All right, y'all take it easy. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.